Hey friends, welcome back to the whiteboard. I'm Blaine from Applied Leadership Partners, and today I want to talk to you about empowerment. This is a big word, a big topic in the leadership space right now, and almost every client, every partner that we work with comes to us and says, how can I make my team feel more empowered? How can I be better at empowerment? How can this be just part of our culture at our organization? How can we be empowered? Look, we get it. We're into it. Empowerment is super important. And if we can give that to our teams, if we can make that a part of our culture, we will absolutely function better, move faster, and get better results. No doubt about it. The challenge we found with empowerment is that it's become a bit of a buzzword, like a lot of other words, but words mean things. And one of the biggest things that we try to do at Applied Leadership Partners is take some of these terms and actually define them. Let's get on the same page about what these things actually mean so that we can actually apply them in a way that really works for everybody. And so empowerment is maybe at the top of the list of those kinds of words. So we normally start by trying to break this down, and we think a little bit about what is empowerment really? What does it mean for a person or for a team to feel empowered? Right? Well, the first thing that we always start with, and we'll talk more about this in the next video, is that empowerment and accountability are really kind of two sides of the same coin. They're inextricably linked, so we don't really want to talk much about one without at least talking some about the other, because they're two, very closely related concepts. But for today's video, we're just going to stay on the empowerment piece, and we'll hit accountability next time. So a couple really, really important concepts to get if you want to understand empowerment. The first one is empowerment is really just applied authority. And the word authority has some hangups for a lot of people, and we get it, but that's truly what it is. If we want somebody or a team to be empowered, what we're doing is that we're giving them the authority to make decisions, to change the blueprints, to hire a person, to fire a person, to approve travel or an expense report. Any of those things, we need to give the authority to the person that's closest enough to the problem to make the best decision to go ahead and do that. We have to be willing to give real authority. That's empowerment. Now, the other piece of this concept that's worth keeping in mind is that while we can and we must, in fact, delegate that authority to people on our team or others to make those decisions and do those things, we can't dilute our ultimate responsibility for what goes on down there. And this is the real tension. This is the real leadership stuff right here, and where a lot of people get hung up. And it makes sense because we're thinking, well, if I'm going to delegate the authority to do these things and make these decisions, then that's kind of on them at this point. I've delegated the authority down, and if it goes poorly, then hey, it's kind of on them. Well, that's wrong. If you're a leader, you retain the responsibility. You can't dilute that. And so then we start thinking, well, man, if I'm still going to be held responsible, if I'm still going to be accountable to what's going on down there, but I've delegated the authority to run the show and make the decisions, then that kind of stinks for me. So maybe I need to approve more of these things, or at least check in on these things, or say, hey, if it's going to be finally blessed off on, then I've got to see it first, right? And then we can start to micromanage a little bit, because hey, if we're retaining the responsibility, we want to also retain some of that decision-making authority. And that's also probably not going to work. And so that's the rub. How can we be effective at delegating the authority to do the things that need to be done to the people that are best positioned to do them, while also feeling comfortable with retaining the responsibility for whatever goes on down there in these areas where we've delegated authority? Well, we would suggest there's kind of three components to this. Probably not surprising if you follow us very much. There's three components, right? But if you want to be really effective at empowering your people and you want to be able to sleep at night with that, then you've got to do these three things. The first one, guidance. For people to really be able to do what you're asking them to do, you got to be clear on what it is. Be detailed if you need to. What is it exactly that you're responsible for, that we need to have done? Very clear guidance on what it is that you want to see happen. Share your vision of success. Let people know your commander's intent, your desired end state. Clear guidance is always the first step to empowerment. All right, the second piece here is resources. So if you want someone to be empowered to do something, they've got to have the stuff they need in order to be able to do that. So even if you're really clear on the guidance and they know exactly what you need them to do, if they don't have the people, the cash, whatever resources are required to make that happen, they're probably not going to be able to do that. And then that's not real empowerment. And this third piece here is really, really important, and we call it support. And this is people knowing that you've got their back. It's knowing that they've got some top cover. It's knowing that you're the kind of leader that will retain that responsibility and will take ownership of and be accountable for the results going on, even if you've delegated the authority to make some of those decisions. Because the truth of the matter is people are going to slip up. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to show bad judgment from time to time. And we've got to be able to pick them up and dust them off and show them maybe where they went wrong or could have done better and let them know, hey, I got you. Get back out there, get back out on the field and keep running hard, keep making those decisions, keep doing your job because we need you. And if you can do those three things, if you can provide great guidance, the appropriate resources, and be there to support the team when they're doing well or when they maybe have a misstep, then they will feel empowered and they will be able to do these things that you're asking them to do. So these two concepts, super important. Empowerment is really just applied authority, and while you must delegate the authority to do those things, you're not diluting your responsibility. And you can sleep at night and you can do that effectively if you grasp these three pieces right here. All right, we hope that's helpful. If we can support you in any way, just let us know.